Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Formula Trout League Sprint Series. We are here today for the Easter special at the sunny Algarve International Circuit in Portimao in Portugal. Should be quite an exciting race we've got on our hands today. It's a very flowing circuit, a very unusual circuit. For a very modern day circuit. We see Roberto Radocchia here just starting his first flying lap. The session has just begun, just 10 minutes to go out of 12 minutes, so drivers just starting their first time slaps now. As we actually ride on board with Roberto Radocchia now in the Dallara F317 car. But yeah, quite a modern circuit this here at Portimao. 2008, I believe it opened. The site of many high-level international FIA and FIM, I believe it is, racing series, motorcycles and cars, and it's always puts on a good show. Now, it's been a feature of the Sprint Series in the past. I think we had one season here in the Sprint Series, different mod of the track in sim racing back then, but it's still recognisable for what it is. And then here today, obviously we're in this newer mod, which is a little more close to the prototype. Let's say the elevation is a little less extreme, although still, compared to, as I said, a lot of other modern circuits, it's a very unusual one. You can see the huge crest as Roberto Radocchia climbs the hill there and then dives down into the left-hander here. But yeah, we've also hosted it in the Premier Series before. Put on some good races there. I myself was driving in the Premier Series at that time. I think it was one of the few tracks where I actually had pretty decent pace, unusual for me, but very fun to drive, in one of those Formula 1 style RSS or VRC cars, whatever we were doing at the time. I'm sure that does translate over to these little RSR F317s. We actually flip to Marco Radocchia now, Roberto Radocchia's teammate in this other Dallara F317 car. Also on their first flying lap as they come around the last corner here. Flat out, very high speed last corner. Reminds me a bit of Sportsland Sugo in Japan, a completely flat right-hander, very long. You don't even know when it ends, and then you've got this huge straight to end the lap with. Again, with huge elevation change, you see the huge drop into turn one, a roller coaster basically. Very challenging for the drivers, very challenging when they're battling as well. I wish I could tell you who is in provisional pole at the moment, because as said, this is a 12-minute session. Drivers were just starting their first flying laps when you tuned in, and unfortunately the timing is not currently displaying on the screen, so I will try and get that to you. As we see Steve Stevenson there. There's a car off in the gravel. That looks like the CRG of Ciprian Stoyan. Not going again, alright though. Yeah, I'll try and find us some information. And so Artu Nieminen is currently on provisional pole position. No, that's not correct. That was from many rounds ago. Sorry, I was looking at the very old live timing there. No, it is Artu Nieminen on pole. Apologies, it said Silverstone for me, and obviously that was quite a lot of rounds ago. But no, Artu Nieminen is on provisional pole at the current time. We see Stevenson rounding the final corner now. He's in P3 behind teammate Thomas Barberi. He is up on his delta though, and he does go faster. Not enough to improve though. Still P3 for the time being. Kevin Vanett in the Impact Blue in P4. We see one of the Radocchias there, both of the Radocchias there in P5 and P6 in the Dallara F317. Very similar lap times. But Nieminen is the driver to beat at the current time. Currently with a 1:35.6, fastest driver on track. 6 minutes to go here. He's still beating his lap times. Look at that. On the Delta, it's 4/10 in fact. So 4/10 in hand on Artu Nieminen here. He does have traffic in front as we ride on board with him through the final sector of the lap here. Getting down the big hill. Turning left, very high speed, flat out. I know in previous incarnations of the track there was a huge bump there you had to avoid, and you couldn't take the apex because you would risk spinning, but yeah, you can get away with it on this version. You can see him using as much as the curb as possible. Obviously here we run curb as track, and R2 is exploiting that, using as much as the canvas as he can manage to try and get that lap time. Trying to keep the car neat and tidy through there, and I think he's backed out the lap actually, because he was 4/10 up, and you can see there, yeah, he's backed out the lap. So maybe the lap traffic, the slower traffic in front that he was catching on his lap, just not kind of played well. He's decided to back out and go for another run. Meanwhile, as we've been watching him, Thomas Baberi has gone into P2, 135.7 for him, 10th behind Nieminen. And I was going to say Wagenvort was P3, but Stevenson has just got ahead. Again, very, very close lap times between them all here. Very good to see. Vantelan briefly was up to P3, but he's down in P5 now after teammate Wagenvort and Stevenson both beat his lap times. Demoted him down to that P5 position. Trying to see who's on a lap now. We've got Roberto Radocchia currently in P6. He is on a lap 3/10 up on his existing time, but as it was for R2, he has traffic in front. Is that traffic on a lap? It looks like the CRG of Stoyan, they're 3/10 off their best, so it looks like they are pushing somewhat, so they're not going to get out of Radocchia's way. Ooh, as he gets a big snap of oversteer out of the corner there, manages to hold onto the car, neat and tidy over the crest, and then flat through here. Braking as late as you can, braking whilst turning. Very tricky corner, as we see him having to just correct a little slide there mid-corner. Again, another flat left-hander up the hill this time. Hard on the brakes to a kind of blind hairpin bend, very, very wide on the exit, very deceptive. And then another deceptive corner, this penultimate corner, the last one you have to brake, it just falls away from you as you get to the exit. Kind of, you understeer and then oversteer. It's very, very tricky. And then the final corner here, very, very easily flat in these cars. And Radocchia backs out of the lap as well. 3 minutes to go here at Algarve. And he's decided, I want another run. I want to give it another go. I'm going to get some tyres on and have another crack at it, because he obviously was not happy with that lap time. Meanwhile, he is on the back straight now, starting his, what will probably be his final lap here. Well, no, he'll have 2 laps to go, but this is his first time lap after that previous pit stop. Down the hill into turn 1, braking as late as you can. You don't want to run too wide, and ooh, that's very, very close on track limits, but he keeps his foot in it. He's not backed out the time then, the lap yet. Neat and tidy through there. I believe these little Formula F317s are flat through that uphill left-hander. Very, very tricky to do so, depending on the car, but just about managed it here. Then down the hill once again into the braking zone. Another kind of open hairpin, quite wide on exit, and very, very scruffy from R2 there. On the exit, would have lost a bunch of time. Any time he would have been up, would have just lost, gone away from him there, unfortunately, for Nieminen. But as said, he will have an attempt at another lap. 1 minute 35 is the lap times here. It was around 3 minutes when he started it, so he might get 1, if not 2 laps to go. There was yellow flags out for Marco Radocchia just then, but he's got going again, thankfully, for his sake. But the track very, very busy now. Got all 12 drivers we've got here today, as Neuers is off. I think that's turn 1. That's definitely not turn 1. I'm not sure where on track that is, I'm afraid. But he is stopped on track. That looks like it might be session over for him, but R2 is just coming around the last corner now. He is 4/10 off his best, so definitely backed out of that lap. Tried to just get tyres back into their operating window, tried to get them the right stage of preparation so he can set another fast lap time, but every driver will be in the same boat. Barry in P2, Stevenson in P3, they're all going to be setting fast laps now. 1 minute 30 seconds to go. This is it. Any driver that crosses the finish line now, this is their last lap that they can do. You've got Barbary, Stevenson and Nieminen all in a row basically, with Barbary leading the train here. We see him coming through the hairpin there, followed closely by Stevenson, then followed by Nieminen. So all drivers kind of in a very similar program on their laps, a very similar schedule in qualifying to try and maximize their lap times. Very, very nice camera angles we have here at Algarve, as we can get right up close to the younger GP car, the championship, the team championship car of Thomas Baberi. coming through the right-hander here. Once again, braking while turning, you saw a big snap of oversteer on entry, but you managed to hold on down the hill, flat out, up the hill. And again, another braking zone into a hairpin. Wide on exit, use as much of it as you can, but you don't want to go too wide like R2 did just a few laps ago. Now down the hill, don't understeer out wide, get the best exit as you can, because this is probably the most important corner on the lap for overall lap time. You can throw that all away in that last corner. Berry is down on his lap, I think, or just about a tenth on his lap time. I think he has in hand. He will get another go, 5 seconds. He's about to cross the line, so he'll be able to set another lap here. Yeah, a tenth down that time, but R2 Nieminen crosses the line, 135.4, a tenth faster for the Toto Rosso driver. Stevenson, he must have made a mistake, or I'm not sure if he's crossed the checkered flag yet, but checkered flag is out, 0 seconds remaining. Barbary is still on a lap. Nieminen, I don't think, had enough time. I'm not 100% sure. Noyes is still stopped. I'm not sure where that is. Hopefully he does get cleared. But Wagenvoort is in the pits. That is his qualifying over. 135.8 for him. Will anyone beat it? Vanterland behind is not on a lap. He's safe from his teammate. Looks like the rest of the field. So it's just this top three are on a lap time. Barbary's massively off his time. 0.6 seconds. So that's, you know, any chance at beating his time, any chance at pole position for him, gone. So eyes on Nieminen and Stevenson. Both are up on their lap times. Up the hill, flat out into the hairpin. See, I think that is the CRG. Sorry, the younger GP car of Stevenson in front. So Nieminen must have just got a lap in. Looks like maybe Barbary is giving Stevenson a tow here. He's messed up his lap himself, but he can give his teammate a tow. Now this will be a huge help down this straight. Nieminen would dream for this. Where will this put Stevenson? Oh, P2. So not enough to beat Toto Rosso car. Not enough to beat the pole position man, Nieminen. So P1 for R2 Nieminen here at Algarve. Very, very good lap. And Stevenson, he got close. With the help of a tow, he got close, but it wasn't enough. So Nieminen will start on pole here in race 1 tonight. 20-minute race we have. He will starting on pole. Stevenson in P2 on the front row alongside him. Teammate Barbary in P3. Wagenvoort alongside. Vanterland and Radocchia on the third row. Kevin Vanet and Antoine Bunn for the Impact Blue cars side by side on the fourth row for the Impact Blue team. Radocchia and Stoian further back, and Noyes and De Jong, I think that is, on the final row. The name is incorrect in game, unfortunately, but we will do our best to recognise them correctly. We just see down the pit straight here at Portimao. See the very nice flags waving here. You know, a nice feature of one of the more modern Assetto Corsa custom shader patch enhanced tracks, which have these animated flags waving, which are very nice. What are they waving on there? Is that the Hyundai R or the Volkswagen R? It's a logo or something that I recognise, but I'm not sure what it is. But you know, very good to see. They've got the Renault Sport up there. We'll pretend that's DAC Racing. No eyes. Yeah, it's nice to see, you know, these modern features in Assetto Corsa, which would definitely not be possible without custom shader patch. This car, this RSR Dallara F317, is enhanced by custom shader patch. Has more advanced tyres, more advanced brakes, brake temperature simulation, more advanced aero. It's basically a completely overhauled car that we have the privilege of running here in Formula Trout. And yeah, it would not be possible without RSR, would not be possible without the guys behind Custom Shader Patch, content manager for that matter as well. So big thanks to them. Just have a look at the grid for the final time before the cars take the grid. We see a little discussion between the driver there R2 saying it's difficult to overdrive here, but he definitely managed it in that qualifying session, starting P1 today. Position the camera the correct place. So we see the pole position of R2 Nieminen starting on the outside of the track here. Down the hill into turn 1, very high speed turn 1. So you'll have to sweep across the front of younger GP car into turn 1 as we've lost Thomas Barbary on the grid, which is a bit worrying. Hopefully he gets back in before the session starts. We've got 45 seconds here. There we go, he's back. I think we saw him miss the start a few rounds ago. A bit disappointing to see that in that case, but it does appear to be here today. These are not the camera angles we want. Definitely not the camera angles we want. The magic Assetto Corsa camera teleports to front of the grid once again. Get a nice overview of the start. Visit Portugal, of course. Big supporters of tourism to any nation here, but forget about that. The race is about to begin. The lights start to come on here at Algarve. 4, 5, 6 red lights that they have in Assetto Corsa, and away they go. It's a very good start for the younger GP car. Very tentative for R2, the poleman, not getting away well at all. There, Barbary goes through on the inside as well, so Younger into the lead. R2 gets pushed out wide, tries to hold it around the outside, does hold it around the outside, braking track limits a little bit, but then we see Barbary coming up the inside, nearly getting in contact with R2's rear wheel. Now he has to defend from Radocchia after that failed move. Most of the field has got through okay, a little bit of contact in the back. Kevin Vanet has gone off, but up here, the battle for P2, Nieminen and Barbary side by side into the hairpin. Barbary on the inside, manages to hold on, but then it's 3 wide. Radocchia, Barbary and Nieminen. Looks like Nieminen's got in front, but Stevenson has started to run away with this already. Nieminen having to battle with the younger GPs, Barbary and Radocchia as well, who is getting involved in this battle up at the front. As they go up the hill here, we see it looks like Vanet has got going again, but is a huge gap to the rest of the field. Unfortunate for him, but the field filters through here. We see Stevenson, Nieminen, Barbary, Wagenvort, Radocchia, Vanteland, Radocchia, Stoyan, Bunn, Noyes, De Jong and Kevin Vanet at the tail end of the field. But look at Nieminen. He was starting to lose Stevenson, but he's got much, much closer to him again. As they start lap 2 here, no DRS to help you in these F317 cars. All you have to do is get a good exit, get in the draft and make the overtake done. You've got a very, very long straight here at Portimao to get it done. Stevenson goes to the inside to defend. Nieminen follows. Will he go to the inside or outside? Chooses the outside line. Can he hold it around the outside? Yes, he can. Can he keep it within track limits? Just about. Nieminen into the lead on lap 2. Not the best start for Toto Rosso, but lap 2 looking good so far, taking the lead at turn 1 here on lap 2, and now he just needs to manage focus on building that gap to Stevenson behind. Doesn't want to have Stevenson, a mirror image of that lap. Doesn't want Stevenson tucked in behind his rear wing as they go down that straight and have the position swap again. Barbary managed to hold on from Radocchia. Wagenvort as well got back in front of Radocchia after a worse start. Didn't notice that, sorry. Obviously we see him running wide at the hairpin there. Gets away with it though. Radocchia just too far back to capitalise on it. But Vanteland on the gearbox of the Stalla Alnat car as they go into the, not really a hairpin, it almost is a hairpin, but it's definitely not laid out like one. Just too far back to make a move. Have to try again at the end of the long start finish straight. But up at the front, Nieminen then, he had to build that gap to get, not have Stevenson tucked in his rear wing as he starts that second lap, and he has managed to do so. The gap is 1 second here. Barbary is closer to his teammate than Stevenson is to Nieminen. So Stevenson's going to have to start looking in his mirrors. We saw at the last round at Laguna Seca There's no such thing as team orders at Younger GP. You know, they've won the championship. They've done what they need to do. It's gloves off now between the both of them. We see Vanterland and Radocchia side by side there, with Vanterland on the inside at turn 1. Gets the position, holds it. Can Radocchia come back up the inside at turn 3? Has a look, but just too far back to do anything about it. Vanterland up into P5. Now chasing after his teammate Wagenvort for P4. So up at the front in the podium positions, Barbary is even closer to Stevenson there. So it looks like Niemanen has the superior pace overall at these early stages of the race, building that 1.3 second gap to Stevenson. And Barbary is keeping his teammate honest, right on his gearbox. One mistake and he'll go through. Maybe he doesn't even need a mistake, he'll just be able to overtake him on pure pace. We will see though. He has to stay close through this final sector, through the twisty corners, battle through the dirty air as we see him losing the rear of the car and the brake in there. Holds on to it, but that 4-5 tenths gap he had, that's extended to 9 tenths now, you know, 10 car lengths instead of 5. So a little bit of a mistake from Barbary there. Let's see if he can catch back up to his teammate. Further down the field, Marco Radocchia in pursuit of Roberto Radocchia, his teammate. And then behind him, Antoine Bunn and Cyprien Stoian, all within a second or so of each other. All going to be trying to race for the points paying positions here. Niemanen sets fastest lap in P1, clear track in front of him, and able to set those good lap times without any distractions, such as that 1.5 second gap he has built to Stevenson behind. The Stoian then kind of the back of that train, little lock up into turn 3 there, gets away with it. Bit of a bigger gap to Neuers behind in the Protogen car. Hopefully he can close up. We saw him having issues at the end of qualifying, but he has got carried on in the race okay. We got De Jong behind, and then Vannet after those early misfortunes is starting to recover, starting to build up, well, close the gap on Snowjager, sorry, on De Jong. Was around 9 seconds at the start of the race. It's only down to 4 now, so he's had very good pace in fact. We're trying to close in on the rest of the field. But Vanterland in P5 being chased by the quartet, is it maybe even more? A big group of cars at least, as we see Radocchia and Radocchia very close together, the two Stella Alnat cars. We could see them swap positions here. We saw it in Monaco. Marco moved out the way of Roberto. Maybe it's time to pay the favour the other way around. We see Antoine Bunn right on the gearbox of Radocchia there, and Stoian behind him as well. So Bunn is going to take no time and try and get this move done as soon as possible. He doesn't want to have to be defending from Stoian as well. Is he close enough though? Radocchia in front is close to his teammate though. Is he going to let him through, or will he have to fight for it? Looks like there's 2 Stellar Alnat cars going to be fighting into turn 1, side by side as they go down the hill. Marco Radocchia on the inside, Roberto Radocchia on the outside. He gets it done. Roberto runs wide. Does that let Bunn go through? He's on the inside into turn 3. Gets it stopped, a little lock-up, but away he goes. Can Radocchia do anything about it? No. Stoian behind, then trying to pick up the pieces, but just a little too far back to do anything about it. Good racing there between the teammates. Unfortunately, I said, you know, they did the team orders back in Monaco. Oh, as they touch the two Marco Radocchia and Roberto Radocchia there, the 2 Stella Alnat cars getting together into the hairpin. I was saying, you know, back in Monaco they had the great teamwork, moving out the way of each other, you know, the team orders, and then here they were racing, and they definitely were racing, with Marco then just getting brake completely wrong, slamming into the back of Roberto Radocchia there. I could have been the other way around, sorry. At least that looks like that's what happened from my point of view. Yeah, that has... any progress that they had made has completely gone then. Yeah, got the position done. I got the position on his teammate. Obviously, he lost the position to Bunn, the other star of that car. But what's happened up front? Nothing. The timing screen is mistaken as normal. Niemanen still leads the race here. Lap 5 out of... ooh, how much are we going to do? 11, let's say. So just under half distance then. And Niemanen still leading the race. The Timing bar is just having a bit of a blip, but we see De Jong here on the inside of Rodocchia going down that straight, and now Kevin Vanett wants a piece of it as well, going to the inside for turn 1. Backs out of it though. Smart thing to do probably. You don't want to go 3 into 1 through turn 1. And yeah, unable to do anything about it. Vanett though looks up the inside of turn 3, or turn 2, I guess it is. Pushes De Jong a little bit wide and then gets the move done. Can De Jong do anything about it though? Apologies for the camera angles. Tucked up behind the rear wing. No, just too early on the brakes. Looks to the inside, but early on the brakes, and nothing he can do. I think he realised his mistake, kind of letting off the brakes there, closed right up on the exit, but just compromised him, and nothing he can do about Vanett there, recovering from his early misfortunes in the race. So, Antoine Bunn then kind of benefiting from the Rodocchias getting together. Passed one of them when they were fighting, and then he didn't have to pass the other one because they took each other out and sent Bunn through. So Bunn is chasing after Vantelan there. Stoyan is on his gearbox as well. Be an interesting battle to watch. Just about half distance now, half duration, and yeah, this battle between Stoyan and Bunn for P6, P7 could be one to watch as the race continues. But speaking of something to watch, Barbary was 4/10 faster than his teammate on that last lap, 36.2 for Stevenson, 35.8 for Barbary in the other younger GP car. So good lap times from him as we see Stevenson locking the rear brakes, struggling with the tyres into turn 2. We're going to call that turn 2 now. Changed my mind. Yeah, Stevenson really struggling. Barbary weaving behind to attack. Stevenson going to the inside to defend as we see both of them get out of shape into the hairpin. Both of them off the road. Barbary lost the rear. Stevenson locked up and neither of them took the corner. Both of them ran wide, but they're still fighting. Barbary backs out of it though. Nothing he can do on the outside. Goes for the switchback. Stevenson defends the inside, but well positioned from the American driver. Does not let his teammate through, but he will have to defend once again. Barbary to the outside. We saw him struggling with this corner a few laps ago. We see the car sliding once again. Stevenson on the ideal line, keeping that P2 for the time being, but they're definitely just racing each other here. They're not racing for the win. They're just having fun. You know, the championship is decided, and yeah, it's gloves off between these two, and it's great to watch. Oh, a big slide then again from Stevenson. So Stevenson seemingly overworked his tyres. Overdriving the car perhaps, as yellow flags for Kevin Vanett. He has lost the car, maybe got involved in an incident there. So he was starting to recover, but unfortunately that recovery has come to an end. He's all the way down in P12 once again. Very much a shame for the Impact Blue driver, but it's just the way it's going to have to be. Race 2, he can try make an improvement on that. As we see Barbary and Stevenson losing the car there into the turn 2. Both struggling with the rears, both struggling with the tyres. No, that is turn 3. I've just checked the track map and I was correct in calling it turn 3, so we will resume calling it turn 3 after a brief pause of it being turn 2, and it will resume to being turn 3 once again. So yeah, the first overtaking opportunity really, if you can't get it done in turn 1, is the turn 3, with turn 2 just being that little kink after the turn 1. You know, after a lot of the drivers are maybe running wide, they just need to go around that little flat out kink before they get into the braking zone for turn 3. So, seen quite a few moves done there so far. You know, a lot of drivers doing a good job getting the car stopped, pulling some good overtaking manoeuvres. Off as we see Stevenson running very wide on the curb. This could give Barbary a chance. We saw him, Stevenson losing the rear a little bit there, losing all the exit speed he had. Can he keep it neat and tidy through here? He has so far, but then this deceptive, you know, the corner that falls away from you. We see Barbary losing the rear. So Stevenson one corner, Barbary the next, kind of negating any advantage or disadvantage to both of them. Barbary then 7/10 as they start the 8th lap here at Algarve. Too far back to make a move, but I'm sure there will be more action between these two in the closing stages of the race. So Antoine Bunn is chasing after Vantelan. Stoyan dropped back a little bit. You see then Bunn is just running his line. Vanterland kind of moving to the inside, maybe just to get a better look at the cars going down the straight, get kind of an idea of the distances between them. But he is going to start feeling the pressure soon enough. Bunn has caught up that gap slowly and surely throughout the 15 minutes or so that has elapsed in this race so far, and he is getting closer, and he will maybe get close enough to try and make an overtake in the last 5 minutes or so. So we see De Jong unfortunately made a mistake himself once again. Well, not once again, but another driver kind of falling down the order, losing the car somewhere. Not sure where it was, but yeah, that's him down to P12 now. Kevin Vanett then gets promoted up to P11. We saw him make a little mistake earlier on after his initial recovery drive. Maybe if he can catch up to Radocchia there in P10, who definitely has a damaged car after contact with his teammate, would be able to get that front row start for race 2. But Radocchia then stuck in the gravel. It's just as I mentioned his name, I saw the yellow flag pop up. He's stuck in the gravel at, I think, the hairpin in the middle of the track. Does not look like he's going to be able to get going again. That will be his race over. Thankfully, in sim racing, we don't need to call a safety car, but he is in P11. He's going to drop to P12. That is his race over. Very, very unfortunate for the Dallara Alnat car there. On from bad to worse. Contact with his teammate. Now out of the race in the gravel. And yeah, like I said, that does promote Kevin Vanett then up to P10. And if speak of the devil, as I was talking about it, exactly what I thought could happen did happen. He jumps up to P10, and if he stays there for the next 5 minutes, the remainder of the race, he will have that front row start for race 2. Try and salvage something of this weekend so far. So we go back to following this front, well, I guess it's a front duo. Niemanen has just ran away with it. 5-second gap then from Stevenson, and then another second back from Barbary. These two battling each other for P2 and P3. Wagenvort, though, is keeping them honest, is just 2 seconds back. If these two start to fight, Wagenvort could maybe, look at getting one of those podium positions. I think he was at Imola. He managed to do something similar. Got that podium position in the dying stages of the race. Just, running a solid race, a quiet race, and getting that podium when it counts, especially in race 1, which awards the most points. Race 2 awards a lower amount of points due to that reverse grid. But we see Stevenson getting a terrible exit out the penultimate corner. Barbary following very, very close as they slingshot onto this start-finish straight. Stevenson tries to defend, but nothing he can do. Barbary goes through on the inside. He's going to have to stay on the inside, though, again, because Stevenson's going to get the slipstream that it would have been Barbary's down the straight. Right to the outside he goes. Barbary loses the rear, cuts across the front of his teammate, loses the rear of the car into turn 1, holds onto it, but that move, which did look like it was certainly done, he had to kind of defend it from Stevenson, and yeah, wasn't able to hold on to that P2, so Barbary in P2 for just a few seconds, just a few moments, when his teammate just comes back through and gets the position back again. Cars really oversteering there through that hairpin, really suffering in the traction zones now, but we see how close Barbary is to his teammates still. No way you can look for a move here. Maybe go for a switchback if the driver in front defends, but Stevenson, very, very experienced, very talented driver nowadays in Formula Trout, and yeah, does not fall for it. But then he does kind of have to defend here. Nothing he can do. Barbary goes for the switchback, a bit of understeer mid-corner, misses the apex. Doesn't get the exit he wanted, has to settle in behind yet again. Yeah, we saw on that last lap though, Stevenson seemingly got a terrible exit out that last corner. Unless maybe Stevenson, he knew Barbary was close, he kind of backed off, let him through. And then, Stevenson can tuck in behind his teammate. What would have been Barbary's slipstream down that start-finish straight, he can kind of drop back, get in the slipstream of his teammate, and then repass. We saw Fernando Alonso and Sergio Perez doing that. As we see Stevenson weaving, then he knows his teammate's close. He knows he has the draft. Nothing he can do this time around. Barbary into P2, into turn 1. Can he hold it this time? Yes, he can, but can Stevenson come back up the inside into turn 3? He does. Fantastic driving from the champion there. Barbary, though, trying to hold on to the outside, trying to get that switchback. He'll have the slipstream. Stevenson goes to the inside to defend, doesn't shut the door fully, allows his teammate to get alongside. Can they get the car stopped here? We saw them both off just a few laps ago, but looks like they get through cleanly this time. Barbary has to leave space for his teammate on the outside, and Stevenson manages to hold that P2 still. Barbary, big snap of oversteer when he had to kind of get the car stopped to allow his teammate through, and yeah, not able to get that P2. So Barbary holding that P2 position for, you know, a few seconds at a time, but Stevenson, very, very talented driving to hold it for this long, because we can see it looks like Barbary is the faster car here. Barbary going for that switchback once again, but just missing that apex. Really difficult to do with that corner. It kind of gets away from you. You're on the brakes, you're turning, you're in the dirty air of the car in front, and you just can't get it turned in as much as you want to. Can't get that switchback to make the most of the exit. Just try, attack the car in front. But what is important is this final corner, this penultimate corner into the final flat out one. Try to stay as close as possible. We've seen Barbary try it once. We've seen him try it again. Is third time the charm. In this case, Stevenson goes to the inside, shuts the door fully this time. Barbary has to go to the outside, would be out of track limits to go onto that green patch. Barbary through, can Stevenson come back at him? Not into turn 1, and now he's following in that dirty air. I don't think he'll have a chance to come back into turn 3. No, nothing Stevenson can do this time. Can Barbary hold on to this P2 position this time around? Gonna have to defend though, his teammate following right behind. Gonna be in this slipstream into the hairpin. Hard on the brakes. Gets the car stopped. Barbary doesn't get the car stopped. Runs wide. Allows his teammate through once again. Barbary just struggling with the car. Struggling with the pressure of his teammate behind. Whenever he gets that position into P2. It's the final lap now here at Algarve. R2 Nieminen. A 7.2 second gap. But eyes are on this younger GP pair. Barbary goes to the outside once again. Well, the inside for the flat out left-hander, but then this long right-hander, you need to brake while turning, goes on the outside yet again. Can he get the switchback? He gets a much better run than he has previously. Tries to hold it round the outside. Stevenson will have the inside line. Goes for the switchback. Can he make a move into the final corner? Neat and tidy through here. Try to power through the downforce. We see Nieminen taking the win then here today, but this battle, who will take P2? Barbary has got it in just a few stages, but Stevenson has held it for the majority of the race. To the inside for Stevenson, it's going to be a drag race to the finish. Barbary goes to the outside alongside his teammate, and he will get that P2 position, so fantastic job for Barbary. He only held it for a few seconds at a time, and oh, that's Stevenson going off. Yeah, Barbary only held that position for a few seconds at a time, but he held it for that few seconds at a time as they crossed the finish line, and that's what counts at the end of the race. Fantastic job from Thomas Barbary to get that P2 at the end. Stevenson then just not able to hold on after putting up a fantastic defence. Wagenvoort then in P4, Vanterlands crossed the line in P5, the two Infrawood cars there next to each other for race 2. Antoine Bunn in P6, Stoian in P7, Radocchia after an incident in P8, Kevin Vannet recovered up to P9, so great job there. Noyes in P10, he'll start race 2 on the front row. De Jong in P11 then, yet to cross the finish line, and Radocchia, unfortunately for him, DNFing from the race after getting stuck at the hairpin. So absolutely fantastic job from R2 Nieminen there. Unfortunately, it was a bit of the, what can we call it? The Max Verstappen effect, I suppose, where you just run such a good race, such a fast race, that you don't really get featured on the TV cameras that much. Just kind of managing the pace, managing the gap, you're building that gap, and yeah, not really having to race for it, let's say, but you know, just putting qualifying laps in, and that's enough to take the victory here. So great job from R2 Nieminen to take that victory. Obviously, we were focusing on Barbary and Stevenson there. That fantastic race up to the flag. Barbary taking that P2 just in the last few meters, basically a drag race down the start-finish straight. Yeah, Stevenson having to settle for third then, with his teammate finishing in front of him. So we get ready for race 2. There's yellow flags for Snow Jaeger. He's actually lost it on the entry to the pit lane. He's in the pit lane now. But yeah, kind of weird goings on there. Looked like he maybe ran out of fuel on that final lap. So he will be classified, but will be classified in P11, running out of fuel, obviously. Well, not obviously, it looked like he ran out of fuel. If he did, he will get classified. Thankfully for his sake, he didn't refuel, because that would have been a disqualification. We saw, I think it was Kevin Vanett fall foul of that at Spa, I think it was, getting disqualified in both rounds if you do that. So yeah, for De Jong's sake there, he did return to the pits and will be classified, because if he did refuel, as it did look like he was trying to do potentially, that would have been a disqualification. So as we get ready for race 2 then, not much of a break for the drivers, straight into race 2 after race 1. We see Kevin Vanett and Marco Ridocchia there discussing. Kevin Vanett not understanding what happened, so maybe a bit of drama between those two. Didn't really catch it on the screens. We saw one of the Ridocchias crash into the other Ridocchia, but not sure if Vanett was anything to do with that. Maybe it was the incident at turn 1. Hard to say. Maybe we'll find out in stewarding decisions after the race. If you want to kind of find that thing out, you know, join our Discord server. Links in the description below. You can just join the community, you know, kind of get an idea of what the drivers are actually like, or if you want to get involved in the racing, obviously join the sprint series. You can join for the final round at Macau. It's in a week's time. We would love to see you there. Links in the description below. Say hello, register for the series, join a team, make your own team. You can still do that in the final round, so we would love to have you on the grid. Speaking of the grid, the cars have then took to the grid for race 2. We see the Protogen car of Neuss on the front row, with Kevin Vanett then in P9, kind of picking up the pieces after a poor start to the race and then getting spun around or spinning back on his own again. Did manage to recover up to P9 and will get that front row start. Fortunately for the Stalla Alnak team, one of them is in P3 at the start, the other is all the way at the back. You can see him just alongside De Jong there on the back row. So I'm sure De Jong will be adjusting his fuel quantity this time around. Doesn't want to run out of fuel again. Well, at least that's what we're believing what happened at that last round, the last race. So not going to make that mistake twice, I'm sure. So drivers on the grid now, needlessly wasting fuel, but I'm sure they've got just enough in the tank to be able to do that. Cars revving on the grid now. 10 seconds till lights out. See the helicopter flying overhead. 4, 5, 6 lights. And away they go. Not the best start for Ridocchia in P3. The Protogen car and the Impact Blue then getting away nice and cleanly. There's the safety car as we follow Neuss into turn 1. On the inside, locks up the brakes. Ridocchia running very, very wide, and that allows, I think that's Vanett to go through, as we see a huge crash involving quite a few drivers. Unfortunately, the nature of the race, we can't restart. That's going to be the way it is. Bari in P2, we see De Jong there going off as well. So Vanett in the lead, Barbary P2, the Ridocchia cars side by side there as they go down the straight. Niemanen and Wagenvort side by side a bit further back. And that is De Jong, Bunn, Stoyan, Stevenson and Neuss all involved in that turn 1 incident. Kevin Vanett getting away with it. How the turns table, and that was on purpose. And Vanett getting involved in that turn 1 incident last time around. He's got away with it this time, in the lead of the race. Barbary then a second back from his fellow countryman as they go into the long third sector. Very sweeping, very flowing circuit here, and the drivers kind of getting ready for that first time they can go down that long start finish straight. The first time they can get into those slipstream battles. We see Ridocchia defending from his teammate there. Niemanen then on the outside of Ridocchia though. Runs a little wide, gets away with it. Artur Niemanen sweeps across, but I said this is the very, very long start-finish straight where they have the slipstream advantage. We see Radocchia then getting that initial slingshot, goes through. Will Niemanen tuck in behind? No, he can't. Wagenwart's tucked in behind Radocchia, goes to the inside, 3 wide into turn 1. Niemanen on the outside, Radocchia on the middle, and then both of the cars going off at turn 1. That's Niemanen into the gravel. Can he get going again? He might be stuck. Radocchia then in the middle. Nothing he could really do. He had Wagenwart on the inside. Niemanen was on the outside, and he was just kind of pinched in the middle, not able to do anything. We see a bit of a draft snake in the background. That is Wagenwart defending from Stevenson. Then can Stevenson hold it round the outside of the hairpin? Gets a little shove from Wagenwart. Gets on the curb. Wagenwart holding P4 for the time being. Vanit, though, is still holding on P1, with Barbary behind, though, in very, very close pursuit. Just a car length separating the two drivers here. Barbary not settling for anything less than first. He's going to go up the inside here, try get that first position, gets the car stopped, gets the car turned in. No oversteer there. No understeer either, like he was experiencing in that last race when trying to follow Stevenson. Vanit trying to come back at him, though. Got the nose cam here. You can see how close Barbary is to his team, to his countryman there. It's not his teammate, Impact Blue and Younger, but he might have the opportunity to get that P1 position back down this straight. We saw Niemanen lose out there. Obviously was involved in that incident at turn 1, but he did lose the position due to that amazing slingshot that Radocchia got out of turn 1. Vanit, though, following. Not close enough to do anything about it. Can't get that position. Fastest lap for Barbary that time around as well. So even with having to race Vanit, still setting fastest lap of the race. Wagenwart, though, he's just been passed by Stevenson. Stevenson got that move done down the start-finish straight by the looks of things. With that draft advantage, is up into P4. Wagenwart drops to P5. Teammate Vanteland in close pursuit. 1.6 seconds for him behind. But yep, is not saying no. He will try to get that P4 back. He will try to keep attacking Stevenson, but not able to get the move done there. Not able to get alongside into the hairpin, and has allowed Stevenson to get away a little bit after his compromised exit from that hairpin. So Barbary still in the lead, holding on to that lead for the lap. Not like last race where we saw him only getting that P2 position in front of his teammate for a few seconds at a time. Obviously at the end of the race that few seconds were key, him holding on to that P2 at the start-finish line, getting the P2 result overall, but he's managed to hold on to the P1 position for the whole lap now. And Kevin Vanit just dropped back a little bit outside of the range where the draft will make much of a difference. Yeah, Barbary should be safe now to just build that gap. Build the gap to Vanit, build the gap to Stevenson behind, and build the gap to Niemanen, because Niemanen is continuing. We saw him off at turn 1. He is continuing, but you know, Barbary probably doesn't need to build a gap to Niemanen, because Barbary is in P1. Niemanen is in P11, so it's unlikely that Niemanen will be able to challenge for that win, even though we saw him with that amazing pace in race 1. Speaking of amazing pace, he sets fastest lap, but as I said, down in P11. What can you do with it? Being fast is one thing, but when you get involved in an incident, you're just on the back foot then for the whole race. Obviously, R2, very talented driver. I don't particularly think it was his fault. It's just one of those things. 3 into 1 doesn't go. And yeah, R2 trying to make the best of a bad situation. So we see Radocchia there. I was just about to say Stevenson's going to start to catch up to Radocchia. It looks like Radocchia actually made a mistake then. Stevenson jumping in front of the Dallara driver. Now Wagenwart is going to want to try have a go at Radocchia as well. Can he keep it neat and tidy through these last few corners? Can he get the exit out that last corner he needs to be able to take the position? Radocchia runs a little wide. Wagenwart needs to be patient through here. Don't press the throttle too early. You will get oversteer. You know, lose the car, get a bad exit. Don't carry too much speed. You'll get understeer. He did neither of those things. Got a great exit. Slingshots down the start-finish straight, up the hill, in the draft, pulls to the inside. Then as they cross the start-finish line, Wagenvort up to P4, down the hill into turn 1. He's got the move done so far. Can he get it stopped? Yes, he can. Can Radocchia come back at him? No, just too far back. So Wagenvort up into P4 there. Nice and clean move down the start-finish straight. Getting it done before turn 1, and then getting his car stopped for that high-speed turn 1, and not allowing Radocchia to come back at him into that turn 3, where we saw Stevenson do quite a few times on Barbary in race 1. So just to further back down the field in P8, Bunn catching Radocchia now. The Stella Alnak car, the chicken car. We see him losing the car on the exit. This will allow, sorry for the camera angles, this will allow Bunn to get closer, but can't really get moves done here unless the car in front defends. And you can go for the switchback. You just need to follow, react to the car in front, which is what Bunn has to do. So we see Bunn looking to the inside there, maybe to unsettle Radocchia. Doesn't fall for it though. Yellow flags are out for Neuss. Impact collision warning on the sensors as well. But the game tells us, and yeah, he is into the wall. He's having trouble with that Protogen car, unfortunately. So we see Bunn, Radocchia and Stoyan actually all together here. Great exit for Bunn, but is he too close? If you get too close through that fast corner, you just get massive understeer. You'll lose the time, but he kind of lifts out the throttle. Radocchia goes to the inside to defend. Fastest lap for Barbary then. But these two battling for P7 and P8. Stoyan following behind. We see he's dropped back through that final corner. Can Radocchia defend this P7 position? Looks like he can. Bunn runs wide and Stoyan goes through as well. Stoyan goes through on Radocchia into turn 3, so nice double overtake for Stoyan there. Fantastic driving. Radocchia will have the momentum down this start-finish straight though. Stoyan has to defend Radocchia to the outside. Bunn looming in the background, but Stoyan has the inside for the hairpin. Can he get the car stopped? Leaves room for Radocchia on the outside, and Radocchia holds on. So then Bunn will go back at Stoyan. You say you can't overtake around here. They're going to try to go side by side, but Stoyan has the ideal line, is able to get the move done. Niemanen catching this trio as well. Gonna be starting to battle with these guys and start making his way up the field, I'm sure. So we see Bunn then on the outside of Stoyan. Quite an unorthodox braking zone there. He broke quite early, lifted off the brakes, and then tried to go up the inside. Stoyan saw him coming, left space, but he wasn't able to do the move into there, but he was able to do the move into that one. Stoyan then on the inside still. Oh, was they nearly touched there. Bunn just turning in while Stoyan's on his inside. Oh, we see Stoyan right on the inside there. Quite an interesting line, maybe just minimizing distance traveled when he's defending. He's going to have to defend now though. He doesn't choose to. That allows Bunn to have the inside line. Niemanen then will go to the inside once again. We saw this happen before though. 3 wide into turn 1 didn't go, and Niemanen was the one that fell off the road because of it. But he has enough of an overlap, enough of a advantage into that turn 1. He's not 3 wide for the 3 into 1 part, let's say. And does get the move done, maybe with a bit of abuse of track limits. We will see if anything comes of that post-race. But Stoyan then and Bunn still battling. Stoyan just a little bit defensive. Bunn could go to the inside here though. Stoyan super early on the brakes. Almost looked like he let him through. Not sure if there was contact that we missed, and Stoyan decided to let Bunn through there. I was just going to say, we had some fantastic racing a lap or so ago with Bunn, Radocchia and Stoyan. Stoyan making that amazing double overtake. Got one into turn 1 after Radocchia and Bunn were battling. Got Bunn into turn 1 and then up the inside of Radocchia in turn 3. A really impressive move. Wasn't able to hold on, unfortunately. And yeah, he did make that double overtake, but both of those cars are still in front of him for the time being. So gonna have to try and get them back if he wants any chance at points, with P8 awarding points here in race 2 in the sprint series. We see then Radocchia's onboard camera facing towards the driver. We know Niemanen is close behind. You can see 1.5 tenths, 1.3 tenths. You see then, Well, you don't see. You do see. Niemanen goes to the inside there. Jumps out from behind Radocchia, gets that slingshot down the start-finish straight. He'll have the inside for turn 1. If he can get the car stopped, he can get the position. Yes, he does. Good job from R2 there. We see Vanterland round there. He's had a half spin into turn 3. Holds on to it though. Quite interesting steering angles from Radocchia there. Not sure what's going on. Bun then has a look at Radocchia. We saw Niemanen get the position on Radocchia. He's dropped back a little bit, and that has allowed Bun to get close once again. Looks to the inside. Not able to make a move, but Radocchia runs a little bit wide and compromises his exit a little bit. Stoian then, you can see on the timing screen, is just behind this pair. He's racing just as much as these two are, and he's definitely racing them. He's alongside Bun then through this flat left-hander. Go up the hill into the braking zone. Will Stoian try hold it around the outside, or will he try go for the switchback? He holds it around the outside. Great job there from Stoian. We've seen some fantastic driving displayed from Stoian here. We know he's a very experienced driver in Formula Trout League. You know, I think he's, if not maybe the most experienced driver in Formula Trout League now, at least the most starts. It was DJB, I think, a few seasons ago, but that might have been taken by Cyprian Stoian then, because DJB has not been active in Formula Trout League for a few seasons. Meanwhile, Stoian is still going strong. Yeah, has taken that P9 position, sorry, from Bun. Bun will probably try and come back at him, but not quite close enough. Stoian defends a little bit, but he's not alongside. He's not really having to work too hard, but I shouldn't have said that. Oh, we saw Stoian run wide there. It nearly looked like he lost the position, but cut across, shut the door on Antoine Bun. Holds that P9 for the time being. Little wiggle on the exit for Bun. Stoian still having to go defensive. You know, I'd say Stoian, very experienced driver, very good racecraft, but he's known for his amazing defensive driving as he loses the rear of the car. That is completely my fault. I apologise profusely, Cyprian. No doubt you're going to watch that back and be cursing me after that one. Yeah, just lost the rear of the car on the exit, held onto it, but lost the position, unfortunately for him. Drops down to P10, still has to get in front of Radocchia and Bun if he wants any chance at points. He managed it earlier, managed to get in front of Bun just then, but has dropped back. A shame for the CRG driver. Yellow flags out for Roberto Radocchia then. I was just going to say, we saw Niemanen get in front of Vanterland. Looks like Vanterland's made another mistake, had another maybe half spin. Vanterland then drops to P7, Niemanen up to P6. Radocchia had that half spin into the penultimate corner, got away with it. Is still in P5. Stevenson is in P4. I was going to say he's still in P3, but he goes up the inside of Kevin Vanet there into turn 1. Takes the position. Vanet then not close enough into turn 3 to go back at Stevenson. Has to settle for third for the time being. Stevenson then up into P2 after getting involved in that turn 1 pile-up, let's say. It was quite a large incident, but yeah, did get away with it. Mostly unscathed, gets into P2, 1-2 for Younger, 5 minutes to go. Yeah, good recovery from Stevenson. Wagenvort then is the next car behind Vanet. I think Wagenvort might have a slightly harder time than Stevenson did to overtake Vanet, but then Vanet makes a mistake into that right-hander, runs wide, misses the apex, allows Wagenvort to get very close. If Vanet was keeping up the pace that he had, he could have maybe held on to that pole position for the next 4 minutes or so, but that mistake has got Wagenvort right behind him. If Wagenvort can stay close, he can get that slingshot down the long straight and get that position done, get into that podium position. He could not manage for that first race. Neat and tidy through there. Very tensive on the throttle. Don't want to lose any exit. Just 2 car lengths basically separating these two. Wagenvort, a great run on the Impact Blue car. Goes to the inside. Nothing Vanet can do. Doesn't even defend. But then maybe Vanet can come back at him. Does he get back in the slipstream? He does. Wagenvort onto the outside. Doesn't really have to defend. Vanet didn't get enough of a boost to really make any inroads on him. didn't have to defend from the Impact Blue car and holds on to that P3. So good job for Wagenvort. Up into P3, up into that podium position. Vanek keeping him honest, but I think Wagenvort will probably hold on to this for the remainder of the race. Further down though, the battle for that final point, we see Bun on the inside at turn 3 on Radocchia. Now, Radocchia will have the inside line for the uphill turn 4. See Stoyan once again trying to pick up the scraps right in the background. He's going to go for it, but Radocchia defends, well, kind of blocks the outside and trying to attack Bun. Isn't able to make that move is Stoyan, but Bun gets up into P8 then. The fight for the final points positions is on here in the last couple of minutes here at Algarve. Then Kevin Vanek though is actually keeping, definitely keeping Wagenvort honest. I did say, you know, if he kept up with the pace he had before, if it wasn't for that mistake he made, he could have probably held on to that podium position. But you know, Vanek does have good pace. Wagenvort, you know, also has good pace, but Vanek can match him. Maybe he can get that position back. 2 minutes to go here. Barbary crosses the line, so there's 2 more laps to go here at Algarve. It's obviously time based, but the 2 minute time, the 1:35, there'll be 30 seconds or so on the timer, and then there will be another lap to go after that one. In the background though, that battle for the points, Stoyan has got back in front of Radocchia by quite a margin as well, so it must have been quite a lunge, let's say, to put them both on the back foot like that. We see 1 minute 40.2 for Radocchia, so 2 seconds off Bun in front. Stoyan's dropped back from Bun as well. So these two racing have allowed Bun to build that bit of a gap. Stoyan then into P9 then. Radocchia drops to P10. Battle further up the field. Niemann, that recovery drive still continuing into P5 now. 10-second gap to Vanek though, which I feel he won't be able to close. Gets the move done on Radocchia. Roberto Radocchia into P5, recovering from his multiple incidents this race. Is doing a good job in that regard, but I'm sure he won't be happy with P5 after winning race 1 in such dominant fashion. So we see Barbary then, well, we don't see Barbary. We know Barbary is just rounding the final corner there. This will be starting the final lap of the race. If we're in America, we'd be flying the white flag. I don't think we fly any flag for it in Europe. So next time they go around, they will see that checkered flag. Final lap of the race then here at Algarve. Kevin Vanek, a second behind Wagenvort for P3. Just not close enough. Wagenvort just needs to keep it on the road. Don't make any mistakes, and he will kind of have that podium place guaranteed. Vanek just too far back to do anything about it. Obviously won't have the turn 1. That's the final time they'll go through that turn 1 to be able to make a move into it. But unless he can do what Barbary did in race 1 and get an amazing slingshot out the last corner, drag race to the finish, which I don't think he will be able to. Just too far back from Wagenvort, second back now as they start the lap. Vanek locking, bit of rear locking there as they go through the hairpin. He holds on, doesn't drop too far back. And Bun is round. Bun has made a mistake in turn 3 in the gravel, gets away with it, but doesn't get away with the position. Drops to P10. Stoyan then into the points. He's back in front of Radocchia. He's back in front of Bun. We saw him overtake them on track. He's now in front of them once again. Radocchia looked like it was a clean overtake on him. Bun kind of gets a position on Bun for free after he made a mistake. That is Stoyan into the points on this final lap. So Barbary then rounding the final corner. Unless some incredible thing happens, he will take the win here at Algarve. Weaves in celebration, flags waving for Younger GP, let's say, as he crosses the finish line. Take P1 here in race 2 today here at Algarve. Great job for Younger GP. Stevenson will cross the line in P2. Wagenvort a bit further back, gets that podium position that he couldn't manage in race 1. Vanek just not able to do anything about it, not able to hold on, and has to settle for P4 in the end. Niemann and then recovery drive up to P5. Not a bad showing after quite a big incident. He won't be happy with that though. Like I said, after he won race 1, a bit disappointing for the Toto Rosso driver. Van der Lande in P7, a few half spins for him, bit of a disappointing race in that position. Stoyan does get that final points position. Great race from him, great race from Radocchia, and great race from Bunn. They all put on a great show there, fighting for that final point. Yeah, Stoyan is the one to come out victorious then for that points position battle. Neuers then yet to cross the finish line, just rounding the final corner now in the beautiful Protogen car. Climbs the hill for the final time today. Will take P11 here in race 2. Disappointing race for him, unfortunately. Wasn't following him too much. Obviously started on the front row, made that mistake into turn 1, and yeah, has to settle for P11 at the end of the race. I guess it still has 2 1s in it, but it's not the single one that he wanted. It's the double 1s, which is 11, unfortunately. But De Jong then crosses the finish line in P12 and is the final driver to cross the line here at Algarve then. So just to run through the results again, R2 Nieminen in race 1 taking that victory. Stevenson dropped to P3 on that final straight, with Barbary taking the P2, and then Stevenson was P3. In this race 2 though, after a very chaotic turn 1, very chaotic incident at the start, Barbary got through unscathed. Barbary took the win here. Stevenson recovered up to P2, 1-2 for Younger GP. Wagenbord in P3. Nice podium for Infoward. I'm sure they'll be happy with that. And Nieminen then, a bit of a recovery drive for him. Got up to P5 after a few incidents, got involved in that turn 1 scuffle, and then got involved in another incident turn 1 when he tried to go 3 wide with, I think it was Radocchia and Wagenbord. So a shame for him, but you know, still good points, still a nice advantage. I'm sure he'll be glad of in the Drivers' Championship. Can't really fight for the championship now. Stevenson has won that, as is the team's championship decided. But you know, every point counts when you're battling between drivers for the lower positions. So we will just wait and see if we have anyone wanting any interviews. We might not. People after, you know, action-packed or dramatic races sometimes just want to take a minute and have a bit of a chill. It's not like, you know, Formula 1 does nowadays, where they finish the qualifying laps, they finish the race, and then shove a microphone straight in front of the face. Gone are the days of the cool down, the podium interviews there. They just have the interview as soon as they get out of the car. But in Formula Trout, obviously we give them the choice. It's not mandatory. So, and I'm sure this is just as dramatic as the real Formula 1, you know, just as stressful as real motorsport drivers experience. Sim racing is, you know, it's sim racing, and it simulates the emotion and the physical nature of it. Definitely. Maybe not. But yeah, no one wants to come for an interview, so that will basically be the end of the stream here today. As said, if you want to get involved, we would absolutely love to have you here. The next round is at the fearsome Macau circuit. We've raced there before in a multitude of cars, a multitude of classes. It's always been exciting. It's always been hectic. You know, it's just as the nature of the beast. It's a very, very good track. We'd love to see you here racing in Formula Trout League Sprint Series. It's the final round of the season. This was the penultimate round of the season, and we will have, in the coming weeks, in the coming months, Premier Series Season 12 will start up once again. We'll get in the swing of things properly, where you can, you know, race in your own teams in the Formula 1 inspired, let's say, cars, you know, following the rule sets and the similar format to that real Formula 1 racing that so many people are such big fans of these days. As said, the description is in the link below. The link is in the description below. If you would like to join the Discord server, that's where we run everything, that's where we organise everything, or just Google Formula Trout League. It's a pretty distinct name. I think the website is the first thing to come up, and once again, you can follow the link there and join our Discord server. But other than that, this was the Easter special for Sprint Series Round 9, the penultimate round here for Formula Trout League. I was Alex Cochran. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you to our drivers for racing, and good night, everyone.